Hello and welcome to another week of game development. Now this has been quite an interesting week. I haven't actually opened the Unity project at all this week. Instead, I decided I wanted to finalize the style of the game because as you've seen, I've been making a bunch of assets and things like these just over time, been gradually building them, but I've never been fully happy with them. And so I took the start of the week just to finalize how I wanted it to look, and I just went back and looked up some tutorials and things and relearned how to do this pixel style. Turns out it's a lot easier than I remember it being, but maybe that's because there's new stuff. So yeah, this is the one I made for this week's video, the anvil, although what I've done is I've actually upscaled it to the 32 pixels, whereas 16 per unit last time. The shape itself, actually, I didn't end up changing. Don't think. Maybe I changed it a bit. I think this might be thinner. I'm not sure. But it's mostly just the texture that I've redone to be thinner. But I'm pleased I did that because now I can go through and start redoing the other assets for this style, and just everything will blend together better because I had the pixelized walls and the pixelized floor tiles, but all the assets were just plain materials that were untextured, so that looked weird. So after I did that, I decided to go back to working on the floor tiles, and I actually had to redo some stuff because what I'd been doing before was taking these models that I'd done and I was starting to UV map them, but I actually realized upon coming back here that there were some flaws because these need to extend to the edge when they're connected to something. But in the UV map, I only had these two. I only had this for the top. So essentially, if there was a border on here, it would be using this same texture. Now, I guess that technically would have worked because when I started unwrapping these, I was using 3 materials. One for the border, one for this grouting, and then one for the center. So I guess technically that would still work. But what I've been doing now is I'm starting to go through all of these, and apparently one of these is wrong. Let me just have a quick peek. Sorry. Which one did I... Oh, didn't do that. So all this is just coming in here and doing this mapping. Let's just quickly grab these and line them up. This is all I've been doing. It's tedious, but it's good. And then the second thing I've done is this. This is actually a duplicate. Like I've still got all these other ones in here. Yeah, these ones here. Then these ones are just one single material, and then you can paint the connection style on this, and it'll just use one texture. And my intention is once I've done that, I'll go through and then add a second material for this edge strip. That way, if I wanted to do some material stuff other than texturing, I could. I'm just starting off with the basic of just having a texture per tile, and then you just assign that. And that should also improve performance because these, if I select this, how many, go to modeling view, this has 106 vertices and 208 triangles, whereas if we grab a similar one, see, this is probably the closest one. This one has got 36 triangles and 20 vertices. So there's obviously a lot lot less processing to do, especially as the depth of these. Actually, this is 0 depth. It looks like some of these are completely redundant. I think they all. Oh no, sorry, that is my fault because I realized that this set were slightly off grid as well. So I actually snapped everything to a grid. So that's why they've popped up. But they were, I can show you how far down they were. If I do grab Z minus 0.005, how far down they were. So not even, it's barely noticeable at this distance. And especially when you're looking at the game from this distance, it's just not worth it. So I'm just going through and doing that. So that's all I've been doing this week. And then next week, I really do need to start testing that other stuff. But this is a useful thing to do because it just to tie all the game together and make it more cohesive, I thought was a useful thing to spend my time on. Hello and welcome to another week of game development. Now, unfortunately, we've got another visually uninteresting week. I've just been continuing with updating those models, and I have finally started actually testing all this pathfinding. And as I suspected, it was completely broken. So there were a lot of issues, and there are still issues. But one of the first things is something that I hadn't actually expected, and that was because these are spawned with a command buffer. They're not actually fully initialized until the end of the frame, I'm pretty sure. So what was happening is I was trying to set the spawner to the entity, but it wasn't valid, and the other way around as well, assigning this mob. No, yeah. So assigning this new mob to the spawner wasn't working, and the way I fixed that is basically I make this new component for spawned mob data, and that has the spawner data, the entity of the actual spawner, and the spawn rotation. This is actually a separate thing I'll get into in a moment. But all that does is we read that, we come back up here, we just say each mob that has that data, we increase the spawns and add that entity. So basically this will run the next frame because it's now got that and it's assigned, and then at the end of that we just remove that. So that was I'm pretty happy with that. And then the other thing was I was having issues with it not spawning at the right angle, and I realized I actually never properly implemented that. So what it's now doing is I have the spawn rotation in the spawner data, and then when we is here, yeah, here we are. So in this one, when we're setting the building data after placing it, all it does is makes a new vector3 by taking the existing rotation of this building that we're placing and then adding that rotation offset, and then we just assign that to use later. So that now works, and it doesn't actually crash anymore, which it was doing because the system that I'd done for making these interaction positions here, what I was doing is I was getting the. Is this correct? Yeah, this is correct. Where was it? Sorry about this. It's getting confusing. I should plan better, shouldn't I? That's saying it correctly, and then when it was pathfinding, I'll follow. That's the thing move order. Yeah, okay, it's in here. Position. Oh, it was. Hmm. I can't. Go to the definition here and then see where we're referencing control system. Here. Yep, here we are. Okay. So what it was doing before is it was just getting the base ones from the prefab, and now it's actually getting the actual positions from the entity. So that's now properly offset. So that's where I've got to. The other thing, it was having some trouble switching between idling and such. So I did actually make a new task searching. It kept idling while it was searching, and it was kept running through the loop. So it now switches to searching. So yeah, that's where I've got to this week. Hopefully make some more progress on that next week. Hello and welcome to another week of game development. Now this week you'll be very surprised to hear I've been doing more work on the floor tiles and more of the testing for the mobs. So this week I was focused on getting the patient system working. So if we on this sidebar here, you'll see this patience gradually tick down to set to 5 seconds because at the moment there's nothing for it to find. It's add a text field for when it's idling. Keep ticking down. Actually, I think I set this lower. That's funny. So 1 to 10, and then when it gets to 0, that mob is destroyed, and this is a new mob that gets spawned. And that's because at the moment the entrance has a max spawn of 1. I think I do want to change the way it works though, because at the moment the cooldown for the entrance if we come down here, you see the current cooldown. It keeps ticking while the mob count is exceeded. Got the current spawns is 1 and the max is 1. I think I'll change that so that when the max is reached, no mobs are spawned. And another thing that's actually happening at the moment is open mob test. You'll see the because the way the scanning arc thing is working at the moment, that it's a bit awkward. So actually got rid of the debug, but it rotates itself. You can see these are changing, even though the mob's not supposed to move. When they stick down, these maybe that's just a rounding error. These might have changed. I don't know. Oh, yep, they changed. So it is spinning it slightly. So that's a bug I need to work out. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. Got that working. In fact, I hadn't actually set anywhere to change the patience. The other thing that I have done, although I think it'll crash when it gets to the end of it, reset here, and here, and place a chest down. Then if we place a spawner down here, you'll be able to see that once it idles, it starts hopping its way over. There's still a bit of funkiness with the heights. Then it should start looting. I haven't actually tested any of the looting. So actually doing it at the moment, it's indirected with it, and then it's saying it's looting, but I think because it's set to idling at the moment, that actually cuts that function. So this will be the next point to work on, is just getting the looting to work and then adding to the satisfaction. So yeah, another slow week of not much. Ooh, and the health bar is not following the player camera anymore. That's another thing to fix. So yeah, another slow week, but keep plodding along. So hello and welcome to another week of game development. Another slow week. Did make some progress though. So if we place down test now, let me place down spawner here, and we get our spawn. Follow along with this. Searching. Now it's moving to the chest. Still needs some work on the positioning. I think I might also take diagonals away and just have cardinal directions. Now, as you can see, looting. And once we complete that, we get some satisfaction. Then it goes back to searching, and I'm actually sure what it's gonna find. Anything. That's data looking like here. Loads. Searching. It's not actually doing anything. So I think what happened is it did the search function and it didn't find anything. It's just sitting here, not doing anything. I haven't properly integrated what I'm doing here. I'm not sure what it's doing. So yeah, that'll be the next thing. I think might be because I'm not actually moving the chest as a target, maybe. Look, we go on chest. Right one? No, yeah. Updated type. Be set to treasure. I don't know why it's not. And then it's just the interaction point. So I think I need to add some more data connecting to the chest to let the mob know when it's done. But yeah, that's all I did this week. Just getting that implemented. Oh, as well as working on the tiles again, but nothing to show really, just dozens and dozens of the same thing over and over again. So yeah, that was this month. Not a particularly productive month again, so sorry about that. Hopefully next week and next month I can be more productive and more organized so we can actually get some more progress going, because there's lots to be done still. So yeah, that's it. So thank you very much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.